What's up, everybody? We're back. Episode 25, the end of the bench show, where the fans go. Pat is here. He's been patiently waiting. We were supposed to record starting 20 minutes ago at this
Hey
point.
man, we talk about this every week. About both of us constantly have work to do.
I know,
That
but
that shit takes precedent, man.
I'm never late. So, like, I know you were probably pretty concerned. Like, damn, if Scott's late, like, he may just be dead in a ditch somewhere.
I had assumed that you were just busy at work because that's what we constantly talk about. Especially you. Every 5 seconds that we talk, you talk about how much work you got. So
Yeah,
it's
I don't,
understandable.
I don't know what would have been worse if I was dead in a ditch or if I was working. To be honest, I mean,
Well, dead in a ditch is a little upsetting. At least I know I'd see at some point with work.
yeah, I'd have a bomb ass funeral though. You'd have a
Are
good
we are
time.
we starting this off on a very sad note today? You got something to tell us? God damn.
Very sad and somber. This is one of the last episodes that I'll be doing from my bedroom.
Yes, it is.
Um,
Mr. Big
yeah,
Man gets his own place.
because next week, and we'll talk about this later. We may not be able to record on Wednesday because I'll be moving that day.
Yeah.
But whatever. Let's get it, Pat. We have like a little stuff going on, a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Couple news stories. Yep.
Let's start with. I want to start with football, and I'm going to start instead of going back to what me and Perk talked about on Friday. We are going to talk about the big money man, Patty Mahomes, Patty
That we are.
Decade, best quarterback in football, best player in football, question mark. He's the fucking man. I don't know if anyone deserves $500 million or whatever it is for him to like to play a sport, but if anyone does, it's Pat Mahomes. And I mean, he's 24 years old, Pat. So at 24, I don't know what you were making at
Yeah.
24, but I was not making like
Uh,
45
um.
million a year. That's for sure.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't making close to what this dude is doing. But then again, he does a lot of things better than me.
Just a
God
few.
bless, man. God bless. Patty Mahomes with this contract. It's insane. 10 years. I think the contract itself is 450 million, but with all different incentives and such, it brings the collective
Yeah,
number to $503 million.
it's insane.
It really is unbelievable. Thinking when you really think about it, I mean, everyone talks about how much athletes are quote unquote overpaid, but you got to look at the revenue and the attention that they bring. You know, it, you know, Fans are the ones setting the market for those things. We're willing to go
Yeah,
to these games and spend so much money to see these guys. So, I mean, people are going to be spending money to go to Kansas City Chiefs games and see Patty Mahomes do his thing. So
yeah.
he is worth the price of admission alone. Um, I am shocked though a little bit about how early they're doing it. I mean, how many years did he have left on his rookie contract? At least like 3, maybe
No, I
4.
don't think so.
Yeah, I thought
I
I
thought he
forget what
was
his first
almost.
year.
I thought he was almost up because this was his third year in the NFL. And when he was drafted in 2017, he signed a 4 year deal. So I mean, he was almost
Oh,
up.
okay. My bad. All right, I thought he had a 6-year deal for some reason. I don't know
No,
why. But yeah, God bless him. Then I'm shocked that the Chiefs are doing this for 10 years. I don't know about you, but I
I
mean,
mean, I don't know. I went when I went on the Landy Lodge the last time, however long ago that was. I told Landy if I was the Chiefs, I would just go to Mahomes and be like, "Do you want 5 years, $200 million, and just give him 40 million a year?" Um,
that seemed like something I thought would be happening.
yeah, which
ten
is
years.
essentially what they did. They just doubled it and then some. I was a little surprised Mahomes did it honestly because I mean, it'll bring him into like his age 34 season. I mean, he'll still be able to get probably a fairly large contract depending on how his athleticism translate later on in his career.
I mean, the kid
Um,
is damn athletic as it is.
yeah. But
So
no, I mean, from the Chiefs' perspective, look, I mean, we're Jet fans, Pat. This is a conversation we've been dying to have. Like,
mhm,
when you have the guy, I mean, you have the guy and you lock him up, you take care of it. They already won the
absolutely.
Super Bowl. They'll probably win at least one more, I think. And if they win 2 Super Bowls in these 10 years and continue to make the playoffs, which I have to think they will because Mahomes is just that good, I don't think they'll sweat this contract. I think they'll be more than happy to pay him, whatever he makes every year.
Well, the biggest thing though that I would worry about as being a Chiefs fan is that I don't know exactly how much this is takes a hit in their their cap per year. But you also got to be sure that you can get him weapons so that he can succeed. I mean, right now he's got the weapons, but a couple years down the line, you may not have Travis Kelce anymore. You're not going to have Tyreek Hill anymore.
Yeah, so
unless they decide to sign these guys, lock these guys up too.
Yeah, but how can you? I feel like you can't lock them all up.
No, you can't lock them all up, but now it's a matter of they really have to develop. They have to draft and develop very well.
Which they've been doing. I mean,
yeah.
So.
But we'll see what happens. I mean, the only thing that we can do is say we'll see. I definitely think we're going to get at least one more Patty Mahomes Super Bowl, maybe two. But, like we said, he is right now arguably the best quarterback in football, or at the very least top 5. I know we got these old school.
No, he's top
guys,
one. He's top 1. I don't give a fuck. Whoever says has to say he's top 5 is a freaking delirious person. He's top 1, and that's it. That's it.
I'm not arguing with you.
I've had a long day today. You guys can miss me with that. Oh, he's only top 5 shit. No, he's top 1.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying there's a lot of good quarterback. I mean, in terms of age, athleticism, arm,
looks,
anything that you can grade a quarterback on, he's absolutely there. Now it's just a matter of keeping the success rate, keep it going, both team wise and individual wise. Like guys like Breeze and Brady and Rodgers and how good they've done. Yeah, I mean, Breeze and Brady Breeze and Rodgers only have 1 Super Bowl, but they continue to put up good numbers individually throughout the year. So just a matter now, Patty Mahomes has got to continue to do that so that way he can be, the same way we talk about those guys over the next few years as well.
Yeah, and from the team perspective, like I have his cap hits up on SpotRack right now, or however the hell you say this website. So 2020, his cap hits $5 million essentially. Yeah. So that's nothing. So like years in 2021 and 2022, that's when the Chiefs, I think. I mean, I'm not looking at their whole cap, so it's kind of like turkey math right now. But in 2021, his cap hits $24 million, well, a little closer to $25 million. And then in 2022, it's like $31.5 million. So I feel like those 2 years, they'll still have some wiggle room to get him good players, to keep good pieces around him. But then in 2023, it hits $42 million, and it's basically in the 40s or 50s every other year after that year in terms of the cap. So that's going to be tough once we get to that stage. But if they nail 2021, 2022, and 2020, and say you win 2 of those Super Bowls, if you're the Chiefs, like it doesn't matter. Like it pays for itself. I feel like, and like I said, like we said, he's good enough where the Chiefs should be in the playoffs every single year Mahomes is under center.
Well, the Chiefs are definitely going to be in the conversation for years to come. I mean, right now they are the team to beat. See that, and that's another thing. Like I can always bring up at a later time. Everyone's talking about the team to beat, on a year-to-year basis. The way I see it is the team to beat, or the teams to beat, are the guys who were in that final game the previous season. I know, like going into the year, people are like, "Oh, the Bucks, they're going to do great" or anything. Until they win it all, they're not the team to beat. The team to beat's the Kansas City Chiefs. Plain and simple.
Go ahead,
but that's just how. No, that's just how I see it. Everyone's constantly like, "Oh, this year it could be the Bucks, or it could be the team to beat," or I'll just throw out a name.
It could be the Bucks, but they're not the team to beat. They could win.
No, exactly. But like people are like, "Oh, they're going to be the team to beat in this division." Like, no, the team to beat in that division is whoever won the division the previous year. Yeah, so like that's how I see it. At least I know a lot of people are just like they look at the roster on paper and think, all right, this is the team that's going to go all the way. But I mean, it's just a mentality that I have personally.
For sure. One thing, Pat, when like big contracts come out like this, I like when ESPN, like their team does like the math to like know like how much they're making per second, per minute, per hour, and per day or whatever.
Yeah, I can only imagine those numbers.
No? You didn't see it?
I've seen numbers like that. Like I've seen it for Stanton. I had seen it for Trout.
I don't want to talk
big
about
name
Stanton. Guys. So Patrick Mahomes, according to ESPN, he will make $1.60 per second, $96 per minute, $5,472 per hour, and $137,808 per day from now until the end of his contract. So today he made a lot of money.
Why
The
you gotta
money.
set me like this?
I was
I mean,
I was gonna say like X times my salary, but I don't want to give that number
let's
away, and
no,
that'll
I don't know,
also
because
just
that's
be
just gonna.
depressing.
It's just depressing the fact that
I'm gonna
in
do the
like,
math though and not tell you what it is.
oh my god, yeah, please keep that to yourself. I really don't want to know.
I sometimes I forget how much I
It's a
make too.
shitload of money that you and I will never touch in our lives collectively,
Wow,
times like 5. It's just not happening.
dude, $500 million to play the most dangerous sport in the
Well, there
league
you
in the
go, right
world.
there. There you go, right there. And his career could be over in an instant. So,
Yeah,
like,
and he
if he got
has
paid,
yeah.
so I don't know how much of it was guaranteed.
Well, he has the injury guarantee in there of like 142 million.
Look at that. Look at
But
that.
then like
Like,
but I think like the guaranteed mechanisms, whatever the hell that means, Adam Schefter was floating that word around the interwebs last night is like 477 million. But I think if his career was to come to an end due to injury, he would at least make 100 whatever million I just said,
and that's
142 or whatever.
and that right there is the big number, especially with
Yeah.
non-guaranteed contracts like the NFL.
Yeah.
What are they going to get when they put pen to paper, and their career could end the very next time they step on a football field? That's why you see so many guys hold out, in training camp and everything like that. When they're coming up on their deals, they just want to make sure that they're taken care of financially, because they know that at any given second, that could be it for them. We've seen a
Yeah.
lot of guys whose careers have basically come to an end, you know, with one hit.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I understand
Especially
that.
the guy he replaced, Alex Smith. I mean, Alex Smith got hurt on the
Yeah,
Redskins, but
yeah.
um,
I don't know if it was true. I thought I saw somewhere that he was going to have an E60 or some kind of documentary
oh,
come out
Alex
about
Smith,
his.
he already
Yeah,
had it was already
he
out.
had it already. Oh, I thought there was a new
Yeah.
one coming out for some reason.
And I was warned by numerous people on ESPN radio that if you are queasy or like
Oh, I saw
don't
the
do well
pictures.
with like medical stuff, that
I
you
already saw the
should
pictures of
not
his
watch
leg.
it.
I've already seen the
Yeah.
pictures of his leg.
But just for
It's
the
pretty
listeners,
nasty.
like, beware. Um, if you do watch it, I'm sure Allie will watch it. She's a fucking sicko like that. Um, but yeah, be careful if you watch it. What was I gonna say? Okay, so usually, Pat, like when these contracts happen, especially like in the NFL, and to a lesser extent the other sports, I think it's all about timing. Like
Mm.
you'll see, especially at the quarterback position, guys are quote unquote overpaid for related to their skill level, but they
Mm-hmm.
had to get paid more than the last guy that got paid, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think that Patrick Mahomes' contract is gonna work like that for
No,
other quarterbacks. I mean, because
no.
I know, like someone in our group chat I think was like, "Damn, the Cowboys should have signed Dak Prescott first," and I was like, I didn't respond because I was
You
super
know
busy,
what?
but I was like, it's not gonna matter. Like, no one's making Mahomes money. Like, I think
It
everyone
really
knows that.
it doesn't matter regardless, because if it, let's for say, Mahomes, he gets his deal. Dak, what is he going to say? Like, oh, you see what he's got, and then Jerry Jones will be like,
Yeah,
don't even, because he's got a Super Bowl and is the best quarterback right now. You have nothing. Don't even try with that bullshit. I mean, I don't
yeah,
know exactly what Dak was asking for, um, but he better not, or there's absolutely no excuse for him to try and use
no.
um,
I mean,
this
I
as
don't.
a bargaining point, because it's not even going to be, it's not even entertaining that.
No, I don't, and I don't think he will. But I think it's like cool. Like, it's cool. Like we literally saw the peak, and like every player
Mm-hmm.
knows, like, yeah, I'm never getting that. But I do think the only player, and I mean, he doesn't deserve Patrick Mahomes' money in my opinion. But if the Ravens win a Super Bowl this year, Lamar Jackson has essentially the same resume in terms of accolades that
Granted,
Mahomes will have, unless Mahomes wins another MVP and the Chiefs don't win.
but something that you continue to notice with Lamar Jackson, and as great as he is, he absolutely deserved the MVP. But he is what I think it's 2 or 3 straight years now where they've gotten to the playoffs and he's just shit the bed completely in that playoff game.
Well, this was his second year, I think.
Yeah. So, all right. So it's 2 years. I think it was. Yeah. It's
But his first year, like he didn't like play consistently, and like.
But it's still a matter. Like we're talking about him maybe winning a Super Bowl. I want to see him maybe win a playoff game before I talk about the money that he could potentially get.
For sure.
I mean, because it's not. I get it's a team sport. Teams win the games and everything. But if you look at his numbers from those playoff games, he was atrocious.
For sure.
So, yeah, I'd like to see him win a playoff game or even a Super Bowl. Well, maybe not a Super Bowl, but
I hear you, Pat, and I agree with you. I was just making the point, like, you know, Dak can't reasonably go to Jerry Jones and be like, I want Mahomes money. But if Lamar Jackson wins a Super Bowl this year, he has the MVP under his belt. He has virtually the same accolades. He's the only one who, in his mind, could reasonably go to his owner and be like, I want to match Mahomes. I don't think he's worth it. Like, I think we're on the same page with that. I don't think it'll happen. But if you want to use Mahomes as like a litmus test, Lamar Jackson would be the next one up.
He's probably the only one right now. He'd be the only one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's funny because he was the one that was seen as like the back end of all the quarterbacks from the draft a few years ago. You had Baker, you had Allen, you had Darnold, you had Rosen, and everyone was forgetting, like, what about Lamar Jackson? And people forget that he also, he did win a Heisman too. And he was taken in the later, I don't know if it was later first round or early second round. And as of right now, he's turned out to be arguably the most, not even arguably, the most successful of the bunch in terms of, accolades and numbers and everything like that.
Yeah, I think Lamar was drafted 32nd, which is the last pick in the first round. He wasn't even the Ravens' first pick in the first round. So, like, when people say, oh, the Ravens really, like, hit on Lamar Jackson, they also, like, missed on him, too, because they didn't draft him earlier.
I just hope that if it comes playoff time, he's able to figure it out and get a playoff win under his belt.
Me too.
That's the next thing for him.
Me too, because I would love
we know
to
what
see
he can do in the regular season.
I'd love to see a duel, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson duel. Although I don't think like quarterback like talent wise it'd be that much of a duel, but like I would like to see them both like facing off like a Peyton Brady type of atmosphere.
Yeah.
In the playoffs.
That's what we got to look forward to. These younger quarterbacks. I mean, a couple of years ago, the big names were you had a Brady versus Manning, or you had those big names. You had a Breeze versus Rodgers. I mean, you still have a couple of those, but now we got the young guys coming up. We got to have them step up, have those rivalries and everything too.
Yeah, and then like I think a day after Mahomes' deal was announced, the NFL, like I don't know how like legitimate it was, but it was floated that they want to introduce like an escrow for the players' salaries, which we're not going to talk about a whole lot because I don't know a whole lot about it. There hasn't been a lot of like news. There's been a lot of some player reactions like laughing, saying it's a fucking joke, which kind of agree. But essentially what the escrow would do is, they want to escrow up to 35%. So just say 35%. So if the NFL loses 20% this year due to whatever COVID will cause, the NFL players will get 15% of their escrow back, and the NFL will keep the other 20% to recover, all their losses. So it keeps the NFL owners whole. The NFL players already can't get guaranteed contracts, and then now they're losing potentially 35% of what was already non-guaranteed.
It ultimately comes back to the owners are making sure that they don't take a loss.
Yeah, but I mean, Jerry Jones could sell his fucking yacht, and they'll be
exactly.
And they would make it up.
Exactly. So, this is why I don't understand people who will side with owners when it comes to these, labor relations. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, how often are you gonna side with an employer over an employee when the employer, the whole saying is, owner, employer makes $1, I make a dime.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like, that's just.
I agree. I mean, the NHL, I believe, also has an escrow. So, unfortunately for the NFL, there is like some sort of precedent in terms of like sport leagues. But I don't think it'll happen. I mean, honestly, it's kind of like the NFL has been pretty lucky, so far with COVID. Like their draft was changed, but like just because it wasn't in person. But like they really haven't.
But that worked out.
But now we're gonna start to see like this negative stuff from the NFL. Like perspective in terms of like they're going to actually start to be affected by it.
Well, as the months go on,
too.
Well, yeah, as the months go on, we they all, and I'm sure a lot of people thought, this COVID would not really it knock off, basketball, baseball, and hockey, but
Yeah,
football not starting their season until September. I mean, now you got COVID bleeding into the middle of the summer. Training camps, I think, are scheduled to start within
pretty soon.
4 weeks, hopefully, like 4 weeks or so. You wonder how that's going to affect them, because now then they'll have to discuss testing policies and everything like
Yeah,
that. So, I mean, right now they're all set and ready to start training camp on time, start the season on time. But we'll see what happens. We really can't predict what's going to happen from one day to the next
no,
in the current climate that we have.
no, me neither. I mean, unfortunately, we can't. Like, I hate
Yeah.
like having to leave it like that, um, but yeah, we just can't. We can't predict it. And Pat, I want to bring you into a conversation me and Perk had last episode.
Mm-hmm.
With all due respect to every conversation that we have had together and conversations that we've had with other people on the show, that I've had with other people on the show, just myself, like the last 15, 20 minutes or so of episode 24 with Perkowski, when we talk about the Washington football team name change
Mm-hmm.
and the potential of it, is without a doubt the most important segment we've ever done on the show. It was one of my favorite um, just pieces of conversation. I thought Perk really nailed it. I gave him almost like no warning that we were going to talk about it. And we saw today, we saw throughout the week, the Cleveland Indians are debating changing their name, which
Yes.
is something. I mean, they changed their logo already for with the Chief of Wahoo. I think it's been like kind of in the works for them to change the name for a little bit, so I'm not too surprised on that. Um, but today I got an alert from Bleacher Report that Washington is planning to have no Native American imagery with a potential new team name, which I think is a really good sign, because to be honest, when they released their statement, I was like, I'll believe it when I see it. Like, it was kind of like an
Mm-hmm.
empty words. But what do you think? I mean, like, I think we're in agreement on the Washington team. Um, but like, what do you like? Do you think the Indians will go through with their name change too? I
Well,
mean,
I mean,
considering especially like their season starts in like 2 weeks.
yeah. Well, in terms of the Redskins, I think the name change has definitely got to happen. I mean, there have been definitely plenty of Native American political groups and all that who have called
Yeah,
for, since like 1940s, have called for that name change and the logo to be changed. So I understand that completely. I know there are a lot of old angry white men who are a little upset the fact that they want to change that name, but at
yeah,
the end of the day, we wouldn't want a racist racist slur against white people or any other really nationality to be the name of a professional sports franchise. So there's no reason for that to occur. Um,
yeah.
and I'm looking forward to seeing what they will change it to. I've seen some good, some
Yeah,
good.
what do you like?
Well, I know a few years ago, Dan
Mm-hmm.
Snyder had trademarked the Washington Warriors because he wanted to use that
Yeah,
as the, I think, Arena Football League.
yeah,
And
that's
he never
right.
got a chance to. So I think that's on the table, that he might change it to Warriors. Personally, I'm kind of getting sick of seeing the same team names in multiple sports.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got the Cardinals, you got the Jets. I really don't want to see the Warriors. I like seeing different team names. So the name that I really like, that I've seen floated out there, and I've seen some concept designs for the
Mm-hmm.
logos and all that, is the Washington Red Tails. And for
Yeah,
those
I
who
feel
may
like
not
that's really
know,
picking up steam on the
yeah, for
interwebs.
those who don't know, for listeners who may not know, which I'd be surprised for a lot of people who don't know, but for those who don't know, the Red Tails was a nickname for the Tuskegee Airmen, which is the first African American flight crew. In I believe in military history.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the name sounds great. You can still keep the same color scheme. You're touching on a great piece of American history that I feel like a lot of people know about but completely forget, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
the civil rights movement and everything that occurred, that route. I think I love that name. I think if the Washington Red Tails actually sounds awesome, and I think they can. And some of the concept designs I've seen from fans for logos and all that look pretty sick. And I don't see how that could gain some more traction, because that seems like a perfect fit for the city. Well, for the area of the District of Columbia, for Washington. I think that would be a great fit.
Yeah, I like that name a lot. I like the Warriors too because I like the alliteration to it.
It's
I think
not
that's
bad.
the
It's
most.
just
I think that's the most likely one because
I
Snyder
think
already like paid the money for it.
yeah, I feel like that's gonna end up being the one. But I really hope that they take Red Tails into consideration because it's different. It's unique. Yeah, it just makes you like it almost like pops off in your head. Like Washington Red
Yeah,
Tails. It sounds cool. And you could
it
do a
does
lot
sound
of stuff
cool.
with that logo. You can do a lot of stuff. If you want to change the color scheme, you can probably change the color scheme. I mean, you don't have to with either of these names. I don't see why they're trying to change this color scheme at all.
Yeah, I feel like
But
they
you can
don't
do a
really have
lot.
to.
No, you can do a lot with it, but I think ultimately it probably will be Warriors, which
Yeah,
okay, cool, but I'm just so tired of seeing like it's just to me Warriors. It's like a bland name. Like I want, and it's already in
it's a
use with other
bland team.
professional. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just like seeing different stuff. That's just
That's
me.
true. That's true.
Um, as
But
far as
yeah.
the Indians, yeah, I mean, they got rid of Chief Wahoo, which it was very nostalgic for a lot of us growing up because we had watched
Hmm.
Major League and we saw that. But
One of your favorite movies, so I know you
absolutely, one of
were
my favorite movies. So admittedly, I was a little upset when they decided to get rid of Chief Wahoo, but I completely understood why they wanted to do it.
right.
Absolutely understood 100%. As far as the name change, yeah, I can see as to why they'd want to change that name. It may not necessarily be a racial slur, but when you talk about the Indians that it was portraying, they
Hmm.
weren't really the Native Americans, as how we know of that
Yeah.
group being. So yeah, it's probably I can see that they definitely do a name change. It may not be for this season. It'll probably be
No.
starting next season.
Yeah, I mean this
Um,
season would be extremely tough
yeah,
because
it's not going to happen
opening
this season.
opening day is the 23rd. Like I
Yeah,
think people understand that it won't happen
yeah. I
right
think
away.
Indians ownership will definitely look into that, and we'll see.
Yeah.
They may want to get discussions with the local community and outreach to other Native American social groups and all that, and
Hmm.
be like, "Are you guys?
For
If
sure.
you guys are definitely not okay with this, then we will look into changing it and everything like that." And if we're talking about a name change there, one of the names that I saw there that I kind of liked was the Cleveland Spiders. And for
Why?
those who don't know, here we go. The Cleveland
I don't
Spiders were
like spiders,
actually,
so this is
well,
a hard
listen,
sell.
the Cleveland Spiders were the Cleveland City's team name in Major League Baseball back in the late 1800s. So it brings that nostalgia back. And it looks like they have, again, I've seen some concept logos. You can do a lot of stuff with that, and it looks really cool. So you bring it back a piece of city history, piece of baseball history, and then
Hmm.
you kind of bringing it back the other way. I know other people have said the Cleveland Buckeyes, which I believe was also named after a Negro League team. They could
Hmm.
go that route as well. I remember seeing some people try to think of maybe getting like a rock and roll theme because you have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame located in
But
Cleveland.
what would you do? The Cleveland Rockers? Like
I don't
what
know.
like
I don't know. I mean, you could. I'm sure there are people out there thinking of cool names that they could change it to.
Yeah.
Um, I don't have a say in what they will change it to. Obviously,
Well, Pat,
the only
you're the
thing I could
PR
do.
guy.
All right. Well, if I'm PR guy for the Cleveland Indians, I mean, I do exactly what they've done so far. They say they're going to address the name change issue. They're going
Yeah.
to talk to the community and those who feel best towards it, and they're going to make a decision based on that. I think that's the best way that you can go about doing it because now you're letting you know right now we still are the Indians, but we're going to take into consideration how other people may feel about that. So, as a PR
Yeah.
standpoint, they're doing a great job of it. What they may change it to, we'll see. I've seen these are just a couple of names I've seen: Cleveland Spiders, Cleveland Buckeyes. I don't even know what else really. I
I'm
don't know the
on.
city of Cleveland that
I
well.
got one right now.
All right,
I
go.
found one on Yahoo. The Cleveland Wild Things, just like Ricky Vaughn.
Okay, but what are you going to make the logo again? Like Ricky Vaughn's head?
Yeah, sure. I don't know.
I mean,
They put like an actual logo on every single one of these except that one. So you just asked me like an impossible question for me to answer.
look up while you're there. Look up Cleveland Spiders, like
I did.
logo concept. What'd you think of those?
It's cool because they use the C as like that where you would
You
find
can
like the
keep
red dot or whatever,
exactly,
like on a
yeah.
Black Widow.
Yeah,
It's
that's cool.
cool.
Like you can do like the Black Widow, but like with the C or baseball in it on its back end or something like that. I
Yeah,
saw
and
another one where there was like they take the Cleveland Indians C that they have now, but put like
yeah, and they put
webbing
a
on the
web on it.
inside. Like
Yeah.
you could do a lot of cool stuff with that. I don't know how the jerseys could look. Some people I know some people saw a concept and they're like, it gives off minor league vibes. Some minor league teams have sick logos, sick
I don't know
names.
if you do this spider logo on a black and red like jersey, like all black with like red lettering and the spiders red, like that's pretty dope.
I don't know if they're going to change
really
the
like
black
jerseys.
Well, I don't think they're going to change the black, though. I think they're obviously going to keep the navy and blue.
Yeah,
navy
there's
and red.
no such thing as a blue spider, so you have to have it has to.
Okay, if we're going to go that route, why is Spider-Man? Why is Spider-Man blue and red? Don't go because it's not realistic.
I thought he was
that.
black and red, to be honest.
Oh, he had blue in him.
Pat, I'm not a movie guy. We've went over this.
You don't need to be a movie guy to know that. That's pretty obvious. Like, all right. What color is Hulk? What color is the Hulk?
He's green.
Okay, but you're not a movie guy. You're a comic guy. How do you know that he's green? You just know.
Because
know.
Because my neighbor had the Hulk like fist growing up.
Oh, so we're gonna go that route now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not that smart, guys. All right, I have 2 degrees, but I'm also an idiot. So that's that.
So do I. I'm the same way.
And yeah, exactly. But you just have more useless knowledge than I do.
Thank you.
Like what color Spider-Man is.
Thank you. Finally, someone appreciates my useless knowledge. My head full of useless knowledge.
But Pat, did you make a big deal of the MLB like testing problems for coronavirus?
Yeah, I was a little upset. I mean, the players themselves were pretty upset.
Yeah, I saw a lot of mixed reviews.
Not so much the policy. I don't think it was. It was up until today. Yeah, up until today, players were getting tested, but they weren't getting the test back as fast as they said they would. Sean Doolittle, Nationals pitcher, has been very, very vocal about what he feels everything going on. He obviously misses baseball. He wants to get back on the field, but he's very, wanting to be very protective and very safe when it comes to all of this. Because ultimately he knows what, they're just playing the game, and the health and safety of, he, his teammates, his family, everything like that comes first. And he basically talked about how he was tested and they hadn't received results right away. So that was an issue. Chris Bryant had spoken out and talked about how, at the start of it all, he was ready, set, ready to go. And now with the delay that they received in the testing, he wasn't so sure because now he doesn't feel as safe. The one good news, though, if we're going to go that way, is that they did finally get all the results or the initial first results of coronavirus testing.
Yeah, I got that alert today.
Yeah, that alert. I believe it was 66 out of about 3,700 people tested positive. So that's less than 1%, which is great. The only thing is a couple of those 66 people, majority of which are players, you got some pretty big names on that list of those who tested positive.
DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah, I got a couple of lists right here. A couple of guys right here. DJ LeMahieu, Freddie Freeman, Tommy Pham, Joey Gallo, Miguel Sano, Salvador Perez. Like, these are some pretty big names that you're not going to see for at least 2 weeks, and you may not see for the first 2 weeks of the season.
I'm glad you brought that up, Pat. I really am, because, and we're going to add some humor to this. So this is how my 4th of July went. I found out Tanaka got smoked in the fucking head by a Stanton line drive.
Let's just say he's okay.
He says he's okay.
Right now he's okay. Well,
he wants to pitch like next week. And I'm like, Tanaka, come on, buddy.
No.
And then like literally maybe 2 or 3 hours later, I get an alert. DJ LeMahieu and Luis Sessa have coronavirus, and I'm like, fucking fantastic! What a 4th of July! Happy birthday, America! Literally awful. Are there Mets who have it or no?
Not right now. I haven't seen any. No.
Not yet. They probably misdiagnosed it because it's the Mets. That's not funny because it's coronavirus, but
yeah, Scott. God damn it!
It plays.
It does make sense. Oh my god, it would make sense.
He has a sprained ankle. That's actually coronavirus. Oh, oops.
Don't talk about misdiagnosis for the Mets, please. No, I haven't seen any Mets that have tested positive for it.
That's good.
I don't know of all the 66 people. I think only 8 of them were staff members. The rest were players. I don't know if there was a list of all of them who were. I don't know if they can necessarily release that info. That might be based on the team to do it.
I think it's up to the player, too, because the players sign off on it.
But like you said, the good thing is it is less than 1% of 3,700 plus who tested positive. So that so far is great. Now it's just a matter of keeping those who did test positive quarantined and trying to go on. When it comes to the start of the season, as much as I miss baseball and as much as I want it back, I don't want to get too hyped up until we see these guys back on the field for opening day 2.0.
Yeah, and I've been lucky because I've watched the Yankees this week because the Yes Network is like broadcasting their summer camp. They're calling it. It's fucking weird, dude. Honestly, but it's also like kind of cool to like watch. You're basically watching an MLB practice.
Yeah.
Like the other day, the Yankees didn't even have outfielders. They had like one guy in right field and one guy in left field playing on the warning track. They were told like not to really like go out to catch a ball, just like to protect the people warming up. Yeah. Like you have Stanton come out and said, I wasn't even trying. I was just like taking pitches and like looking. And so like that comes out. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm not excited about anything I saw from the pitching staff anymore because you guys weren't trying. But it was still good to have the boys back on TV.
Yeah, I don't think that I'm honestly not sure if Mets have been on SNY too much. I haven't been watching too much TV, but I have been following everything that they've been doing at camp on Twitter and Instagram and everything like that. Yeah. I don't know about you, but I think it'd be cool. I mean, they know they talked about having the players mic'd up during games this year, which I still think they should have done. I think it'd be kind of cool if they kind of put some mics on a few players during these practices. To get an idea of, I think that'd be really cool.
I do too.
I did see something before that was kind of funny with Yankee camp. I was on John Boy Twitter, and great John Boy, absolutely. He was doing this thing where it was Garrett Cole in a simulated game.
Oh, he was lights out yesterday. Well, except Andahar took him deep. But
yeah, but this is what I'm leading up to. He was it was at the Andahar at bat, and I think he was working on a pitch. Working on the at bat, and they had to throw the ball that he was using away. And he got a replacement ball. I think it was like a practice ball or something. Yeah. And he looks at the coaching staff. He goes, "Why'd you guys throw that away? I like that ball. I want that back." And then they're like, "You can't get it. It's been in play for too long. We got to replace it." He goes, "Fuck, all right, damn."
Yeah,
Next pitch, he gives that oppo shot to Andahar, and he's just like, "Fuck, man, my ball back." So, I mean, I thought that was kind of funny from just like a human being standpoint. But
it's funny.
That's something they got to get used to because balls in play this year. Granted, most balls probably last like at most like 10, 12 pitches before they're hit out of play or whatever. There's going to be a lot of new balls in play this year if the season does happen. So he's going to have to get used to it. Even if he falls in love with the baseball he's got in his hand, he's not going to hold on to it for more than maybe a third of an inning. So.
Yeah, for sure. And the day before that at Yankee camp, Zach Britton got the ball back from an infielder and didn't know how to get rid of it. So it was in his glove. So he just flipped it up and punted it to Booney or whoever was on the side. I was like, yeah, that'd be so funny if that happens during a game. But yeah, in terms to get back to somewhat on topic, the testing is definitely a concern. If you can't. Look, because this is what should have been hashed out when they were not negotiating about coronavirus. When they were
just the safety measures of everything that should have been priority one.
This should be reasonably airtight. Mm-hmm. Obviously there's going to be hinks. There's kinks in every business right now because of coronavirus, and that's totally understandable. But this should be a lot more airtight than it appears to be. So I am a little concerned. I totally understand why the players are concerned. I mean, they have to FedEx everything to the testing facility, and obviously 4th of July FedEx doesn't deliver, so that was a problem. But obviously you should have 4th of July off. Definitely in favor of that. But how are these things you're not thinking of when you're quote unquote negotiating? In
all seriousness, we talked about how we wanted the owners and players come together financially and everything like that. These safety measures should have absolutely been. Hopefully,
they were more important.
Number one in the negotiations, and that is something I feel like both sides could have easily agreed on from the get go, and then worried about the financial stuff as it led on.
Yeah. Especially because it seems like the owners knew what they wanted anyway.
Yeah, the owners. We talked about this briefly last week about how what Manfred said about regardless of how negotiations were going, he wasn't going more than 60 games. So they already had their idea in mind of what they wanted to do. So at the very least, you guys by dragging these negotiations on, you could have came to an agreement about testing procedures and everything like that. That should have been number one on the list.
Yeah. I didn't prep you for this topic, but I want to switch gears to the NBA. So there's a couple of things I want to talk about. One is like a recap of what we talked about last week, so we're to save that for last. But the NBA, from what I hear, the teams who are not involved in the bubble want to make their own bubble in Chicago. I don't know why. Personally, I think it's the dumbest thing ever. I don't know why you would watch it as a
Wait,
fan.
teams who are not
Who are not,
in that first plant, that first
yeah. So like teams who weren't good
restart,
enough to be in the Orlando bubble.
so like the Knicks.
So yeah, the Knicks, who are actually one of the only teams who do not want to take part in the sucky bubble. The sucky bubble is what I call it.
Good. Oh, it's the NIT. It's the NIT of the restart then.
Essentially. So like teams want their players to like not take however many months off it'll be at this point, probably like close to 7 months off, which totally get it, understandable, but like two things. Coronavirus is still alive, and I was gonna say alive and well, just like out of habit, but it's still a thing going on. Like, why are we traveling more people to another area, like a high volume city, when we don't have to? Like, if you want to suck at basketball, I don't think you have to be put on TV while no one's gonna fucking watch you.
Yeah, that doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Even if you're a Hawks fan, like, yes, I would love to watch Trae Young play a few more games, but if they're going up against essentially the playoffs, like, I'm not watching you.
The only other thing that I would like to, I mean, if they're going to do that, I'd rather them just do pickup games and then stream it.
Me too.
Live.
Me too.
I think that would be a lot cooler.
Yeah, and it makes no sense for the NBA to sanction another bubble because they're already. Adam Silver already said, like, yeah, we're gonna lose like close to $200 million putting on like the Orlando bubble. Like, why would they put on another one? It makes
it doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't make sense at all. The cool thing would be to, I don't know if they'd have to get the league's permission or whatever about it. That they kind of, get a bunch of guys, kind of do their own quote unquote bubble, but it's on their own dime or whatever like that, and then do like pickup games.
Yeah, they could like rent out Lifetime Fitness or like wherever they all hang out in that gym. But something we talked about last week, Pat, was the NBA putting Black Lives Matter on every court in Orlando, which is awesome, and they're also allowing the players to put social initiatives or like social messages, they're calling it, on the back of their jerseys, which we talked about. And a list came out earlier this week. I think it was earlier this week by Mark Spears. So I want to list a few that are approved. So all of these, it wasn't anything the NBA players wanted. It had to be approved by the league, and these are the approved ones. However, there is one that Austin Rivers wants added, and I think if he asks the league, he may actually get it. I'm just going to read a few because there's like, it looks like 25 or there's 29. So I'm not going to read all of them. So one is the obvious, Black Lives Matter, say their names, vote, I can't breathe, justice, peace, equality, freedom, power to the people, say her name, which is obviously about Breonna Taylor, justice now, si se puede, which means yes we can in Spanish. I think that's really cool, Pat, that even so the NBA is trying to make all these like social messages out there, and they're still thinking about improving their brand in like foreign markets. Meanwhile, MLB couldn't get their shit together. See us is another one. Hear us, respect us, love us, listen to us, stand up. Anti-racist.
Like you read the entire list there. You say you weren't going to read the entire list, but
because I think
the entire list.
Because like I don't know which ones to leave out. Like I did leave a few out. Like group economics, I think is like kind of a dumb one to have on here at this point. Mentor and education reform. But anyway, the one that Austin Rivers wants added is he wants Trayvon Martin's name to be one of them, so he could put it on the back of his jersey because he grew up very close to where Trayvon Martin was from. But there have been players who have already selected and made public that they selected theirs. And none of them are Black Lives Matter, which I thought was interesting. Maybe because it's on the court already. But
I think that may be why some of them or most people aren't gonna, because it's already being expressed on the court. So maybe they can take their spot to shed light on another aspect of it.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool because the list that Chris Haynes tweeted out, it has on it, out of 10 players, only three of them are black. And then he tweeted out another one, Damian Lillard, who's black, Marvin Bagley, who's black, Enes Kanter, who's foreign. I forget his country, but I think it's really powerful that Turkey. I feel like it's pretty powerful that a lot of like the foreign players and the white players are putting like social justice messages on their jersey, because I think that's the goal, right? Like, the black players and black people in general can say it, but if the white players and white people and all other races don't get on the same bandwagon, the change is that much harder.
That's the biggest thing, is that we basically all as a people need to come together, regardless of race, regardless of gender, regardless of sexual orientation or whatever it may be. We all have to be seen as just people. That I think that ultimately is the goal. So hopefully things work out in terms of them being able to put these names on, everything gets approved, and we see a little bit more of a change.
Yeah, and I want to end it with Damian Lillard, he's the cover athlete of NBA 2K21 next year. Well, he's one of them. I think they have three different
I saw
covers.
that there was three potentially.
And for those who don't know, Damian Lillard, he wears the number 0. It's Dame time is his thing. And his social justice statement is how many more, and I think it's going to look really cool on top of the number 0. It's kind of saying, enough is enough.
Oh, that's right. That's cool. I respect that.
Lillard he's also a rapper. He's pretty good with his words. I'm sure that how many more and the number 0 are not a coincidence. In terms of him picking his statement. But yeah, I'm interested to see the other players who pick one. I'm interested to see if the NBA allows creativity, just in the sense of like, hey, they didn't think of that, but the player really wants to do this. Like, is there any harm in it? Because obviously, like we somewhat joked last week, like we don't want anti-Semitic, anti-gay messages like that. So I think Adam Silver, from everything that we've seen the NBA do, probably receptive to any changes the players want to make, something they feel strongly about. I'm sure as long as it is appropriate, they won't have any problem obliging the players.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully that they're able to start up at all with the spikes that Florida has had, unfortunately.
I think they are. I mean, players are already there.
Yeah, the best thing we can do is just keep our hopes up, and hopefully we can get past it.
Yeah, players are already there. I think Troy Daniels posted his meal that he was given at the hotel.
I saw this.
And Isaiah Thomas retweeted it and was like, "Well, Bron ain't eating that shit." And I'm like,
it kind of looked like a school lunch.
Looked like something you get on an airplane.
Yeah, that
is the same thing as a school lunch.
Yeah, it's similar to the Firefly festival, the Fire Festival, whatever the fucking called, where they got they're supposed to get like 5-course meals from top chefs, and they're getting a cheese sandwich with a side salad.
And a tent with rain in it, beds with bugs on it. I watched that documentary. There's a couple documentaries. There's one that's a Netflix original, I think.
It's Netflix and one Hulu.
The Hulu one isn't as good because it goes into more of the guy behind it. Yeah. But the Netflix one takes you through the whole process. And
awesome. I know it's a little outdated for our listeners who may not have seen it. I believe it should still be on Netflix.
It is. I watched it during quarantine. So
for those who know the story but don't know the full story, definitely go take a look at that. Because it's funny.
We were all part of it on social media. We just didn't know what was going on. So this documentary really lets you know oh yeah, that was that trending topic for 3 weeks 5 years ago.
It was one of the main points of study in my my program, my PR program, just talking about how disastrous it really was. And honestly, stuff like that makes me just laugh my ass off.
As an accountant, I got chills during
the entire thing was making me laugh the entire documentary, and just like the whole concept of everything that happened to all these rich white kids who paid all this money to go to this fancy island, and they ended up having to live the way they did for a couple of days. It's funny to me.
It's terrible. I would have like, I would have died, honestly.
I would never have gone to it, so it really wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to afford to go, but like, I don't know what I would have done to anyone that I saw when I got there. Like, if I ever saw the guy behind it, I'd probably just punch him in the face.
He's in jail for I don't know how much longer. I mean,
Sure.
he defrauded like a bunch of investors and everything like that. That's how this all came about.
Yeah, Billy McFarland. He sounds like a douchebag. Like, I don't know why. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
I mean, we all know there's going to be a movie about him in some way, shape, or form in the next couple of years.
He's 28 years old.
Yeah, he's our age.
Yeah, he defrauded investors of $27.4 million.
That's bad. That's pretty bad.
Oh man, that's funny. Oh, it's not funny. It sucks for the investors, but I'm sure they got their money back. Pat, I think that's it, man. Unless you want to hit anything else that we forgot.
Yeah, nothing's really coming to mind. I think we touched off on pretty much everything. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know if you want to do like one last segment. I think you had an idea of doing something one last segment, or
yeah. Do you have anything though? Because we were.
I mean, the best thing I could think of is all right. So for those who are on social media, Twitter specifically,
which is everyone.
I
hope.
There's been this trending topic that's been going around, and it's basically describe your favorite blank in the most boring way possible. You know, favorite sports moment, favorite movie, favorite whatever, pretty much. So Scott and I were trying to think of how we would describe our favorite sports moments as boring as possible. I mean, I've seen a couple of the ones that I would have done first, and we talked briefly. Mm-hmm. You got one immediately. The first one was guy hits home run for America. Or something. Piazza. I don't even know. Yeah. The only other one I would be able to think of is I don't know. It's something I can't really think of it on the spot. It's really tough. I can do movies on the spot. I can do like favorite sport movies or something. So okay, no, this is good because I'm not a movie guy, Pat. We went over this already. So describe like one of your favorite sport movies that we didn't talk about in the first episode of the End of the Bench show. As boring as possible. Let's see if I can get it. All right. I'm hoping you've even seen this movie.
Oh well, I mean, it's.
Let's see. I'll try it. It's a baseball movie. I'll give you that.
Okay.
Little League team sucks. Adds 2 players and becomes contenders.
Bad News Bears.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Movie.
Yeah. I was watching it the other day, and I'm just looking at it. I'm like. They only got good because of 2 players.
That's the only like Little League movie I know. Besides,
I love that. That's a great movie though.
Besides Hardball, I guess that's kind of like that's classified as a Little League.
Oh God, Hardball is a great movie. I don't think there's any. Is there a boring way you could say that? Gambling addict coaches. Black kids.
That's already not boring. That's already not boring.
There's no boring way to say that. There's really no boring way to say it because you have to add the fact that he's a gambling addict who owes money.
Guy reinvents himself by coaching baseball.
Okay,
that's
that might be
basically Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
because he gets the girl at the end too. Like he's not as much of a douchebag.
He does.
Yeah.
The
kids win, which is good.
RPG babe.
RPG baby.
I still very much get upset that every time I see that scene. It's one of those scenes, man. Like Mufasa really dying. Like it's just one of those scenes that really tugs at the heartstrings.
We're not gonna talk about Mufasa dying. Nah. Pretty controversial opinions on that scene.
All right, so. I don't even know. I'm not gonna get into that with you because I love The Lion King and that's one of my favorite movies. So I'm not gonna start with that shit. Now you go one and see if I can guess it. If you have one, real quick.
A movie.
Movie.
It can't be a movie. Probably.
Also, do a moment. You're a Yankee
moment?
fan.
Oh, my moment is not professional sports, so I don't know if does it have to like. I feel like you know it if I describe it because you know me.
Try me.
All right. Oh, I'll try you. I will try you.
If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. Okay.
All right. that's that's great. A lot of consequences there. Um, um, how do I want to describe it? Boring. I should have wrote this down. This isn't very good podcasting right now. I love all the listeners. They're great. Thank you for bearing with me while I have my thoughts together. Okay. No, but that's exciting. All right, whatever. Freshman hits shot and looks at his brother.
Freshman hits shot, looks at his brother.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's Duke related.
Of course, it's Duke related.
Freshman hits shot, looks at his brother.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't know Duke basketball.
I mean, if it's Duke related, I'll give it to you because you're not going to get the player.
Yeah,
so,
I wouldn't get it.
When Duke won the national championship, Tyus Jones hit the dagger with a minute and a half left, put him up 8 points. He hit the three, turned around. It's a somewhat iconic photo in Duke history when he does like the threes like this, but like underneath him. And he has his mouth wide open, eyes wide open, and he's looking towards the sideline, and that is where his brother is sitting, who later committed to Duke, played 2 years there, Trey Jones.
I kind of want to see this picture.
He's going in the draft.
What's his name?
I did a screen share one time with when Vogel was on, and I think it worked. So let me pull it. It's literally if you go into Google and type.
Oh, no, I already see it. Yeah, I see it.
That's the picture right there. I could watch his highlights from that game like nonstop, and I kind of do, to be honest. Kind of sad. That was going to be.
You're a fan, man.
That was going to be a topic I was going to ask you to do maybe next week.
Okay.
Like a player that you love that like no one gives a shit about.
All right, that's what I like to think about.
Because Tyus Jones is that guy for me because he's the second best Duke point guard of my lifetime.
That's a tough one, man. I really have to think about that.
That includes Kyrie Irving not being in the top two. So
that's a tough one. That's something I definitely have to think about because like most players, like at least Mets wise, who I definitely loved, had some sort of
I call
moment
them
with the franchise that everyone just remembers.
Yeah, I call them deep cut guys, like guys that like those hipster kind of players. Like it's a big basketball thing. Like people love Alex Caruso, but he's not like amazing. So it's like a deep cut. All right, so we'll do it next week. That's something for the listeners.
You're gonna have to send me a text and remind me of that because that's something I'm gonna be thinking about like all week. That's a good topic.
You'll have less time too, because we'll have to change our recording day. So you'll have to think about it.
Oh, true.
But yeah, so and I'll put it on IG. I think some fans will write in answers. Hopefully,
it's tough, man. I really gotta think about that.
Yeah, but those are conversations like that. That should be a fun one. Pat, this was good. Thank you for waiting for me to show up. That was appreciated.
Of course.
You guys know the drill by now. Rate, review, subscribe. Instagram is _on_the_bench. Twitter is the OTB. If you want to be a monthly supporter, the support link is in the description. 50% of your support goes to No Kid Hungry, and you get a T-shirt. I have 8 shirts left. I don't want to bring them all to my new apartment, so people better sign up. And do
why don't we let the listeners know the sizes you have available?
Because I don't know it off the top of my head. They're gonna get what they get.
God damn and you're gonna get someone who's a large and all you got left is smalls. How's that really gonna help?
Well, I mean, honestly, everyone's lucky that I ordered them the way I did to begin with.
Yeah.
I didn't write down the quantity in my phone, so you guys, it's gonna be a nice game. But yeah, guys, thank you all for listening. We'll be back probably next week sometime for my last recording in my bedroom in my undisclosed location. Pat, thank you for joining me, man. I'll see you later.
Take care, buddy.